What is up, Bucs fans? We are live here on a Tuesday evening. It's Real Bucs Talk. I'm your host, Michael Plus. Joined as always, my co-host, Mark Ramirez. It feels good to be back. It's been a while since I've been on the airwaves as I was away going across country to Oregon, but back safe and sound, ready for football season. I know this man here is as well. But we welcome you in and a lot to discuss as we had the initial 53-man roster to go in depth on, obviously, give our thoughts about how this season and what the expectations are for this team and how do we think they're going to do inside the NFC South. And obviously it's going to be a very fun season to see how things shape up. But Mark, with all that said, how are we feeling? Ready are we for this Sunday matchup?
We're hyped up. We're excited. It's football's back. The wife has already circled all the days that I'm going to a game, so she's like, "Okay, damn it, I can't do anything here." So I'm excited for that. And yeah, I mean, overall, excited for this football season for the Buccaneers. I think it's going to be a very competitive one, a lot more competitive than most think. Uh, they always kind of put us as like the fighter in the NFC South, but not necessarily the guy that's going to win it. It's that time of year that Mark comes out of his cave. Yeah, pretty much it. Yeah. And into the football field, right? So that's about the only place I go there and work. But
Right.
I mean, overall, I'm just excited to see what they can actually put up and I guess right all the naysayers again and put up a good display of what football should be here in Tampa, which is always overwritten off, right? And we just outperform any projection that it is. I think a lot of teams are saying 7 to 8 wins. The
Mhm.
highest I've seen is like 9. So, and we'll get over why they're saying this later in the podcast. But I mean, overall, I think it's going to be a good season, fun to watch. And the Baker Show, Liam Cohen, how are they going to marriage together, right? And the defense, I think, is just being written off way too fast, and they're too good to be doing that.
Yeah, absolutely. And as you see there's the matchup for this Sunday, at Raymond James at 4:25 p.m. start on Fox against the Washington Commanders. We get to face, Jaden Daniels, Terry McLaurin, obviously Jonathan Allen, Deron Payne. We'll talk about those matchups and yeah, it should be a lot of fun. Obviously the return of Baker Mayfield, the return of Mike Evans, getting the contracts, all those guys being back in the fold. Tristan Wirfs another year as the starting left tackle and see how much he grows. I think it's going to be awesome. And what a way to start the show with Fukuwab with a $10 super chat. It's football season when Fukuwab comes in with the super chat donating. Appreciate that very much. Hope all is well. And yeah, we're very excited to not only start the Buccaneer season, but also the season here at Real Bucs Talk and get it nice and rolling here for you guys for sure.
Oh, there will be content. There will
Yeah.
be video analysis. There will be how we say the real stuff of what you want to look for, not just the bullshit of what media says. The Bucks suck. They're a middle tier team, and they're
Yeah.
they're barely gonna be competitive this year because they don't make changes. They're just blah.
Hmm.
But yeah, it is what it is. But so, guys, just bring your questions up. Plus, and I are just going to be talking heads, just discussing everything and anything. And plus, you take it away. So, what do you think this football season? What do we have to look forward to? What are your, I guess, excitement over the depth chart? Let's not just jump into the season just yet, because I mean, we haven't even discussed the 53 that we've gotten to go into the season. So, I guess if you want to touch on that before we jump into projections.
Yeah, let's I'll bring up the 53-man roster and we'll just break it down offensively first, kind of go position, group by group. But obviously offensively, I think not too many surprises. I'm very excited that my guy Cameron Johnson made the squad. Really interested to see what he does as far as what his role is going to be. I think he's one of those players that can be very. I would say he's an upgrade over a Devin Tompkins just because of what he brings, his size and his route running ability, the explosive, being able to make guys miss. So that intrigues me. But really, you have your top. your top three there with Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, Jalen McMillan, the rookie, being the starter as the third receiver. Trey Palmer is going to see a lot of playing time as well. Offensive line, I think we expected Graham Barton to start, and that's another great pick by Jason Light. Um, Cade Otton, tight end one, as always. I think that is going to be a big year for him. I expect him to have a really good season.
He
But
said things of Pro Bowl. He wants a Pro Bowl this year.
yeah,
And
I don't
his father wants to be a Pro Bowler. That's
I
all
don't
he hopes.
I don't think it's out of the realm, especially with how Baker Mayfield and Cade Otton were playing towards the end of the last season. Cade was one of the better performers in the playoffs and really showed up as far as that goes. And excited to see what he can do. And then, you know, Rashad White, Bucky Irving, Sean Tucker, I think it's a very underrated running back group that is going to be probably the X factor for this season. I think they're going to really help this offense be what we expect it to be. And that is something of balance and something that can produce maybe 24, 25 points per game. Um, and obviously Baker Mayfield leading the show. So offensively, overall, I really like the roster. I think there's depth. I think you have to like that Robert Hainsey as your top interior backup. You bring in Royce Newman, the guy from Green Bay. Kind of, fell out of the fold there, but I think they're excited to work with him and see what he has. Justin School as a backup swing tackle, and then Elijah Klein, as your, development type of prospect that could be a potential starter, next year. So overall, I like the group. I really do like the group offensively.
And it's credit to Jason Light again, always finding some guys, and he always gives credit to his scouts and everyone. Yeah,
Mhm.
Cameron Johnson coming out of nowhere and immediately making an impact, like you were saying, from day one. And they couldn't. He only had one damn game in preseason, but he made such a huge influence during training camp, mini camp, just showing off left and right, where you couldn't think of anyone besides him. Like, how the hell can he not make the team? And like a guy that can do it all, not just be a receiver, but can take end arounds. He's got the body type of like a running back, so you can end it around, get it to him in a short screen like you do with Chris Godwin. Like Mike Evans isn't the best with that, but you
Mhm.
want to get him the ball in any situation. But a guy like Cameron Johnson is more fluid with that. And then you have Jalen McMillan taking the number three receiver role with a
Yeah.
guy that has potential that could be a number two receiver down the road. Just we saw his stuff he would do in Washington. I think this receiver room and running back room very dynamic and areas where you're like, holy crap, we got a speed guy, Trey Palmer and Sean Tucker, guys that can catch the ball in the backfield. Bucky Irving, all three of them can.
Mhm.
Bucky Irving, I'm excited to see though how they kind of add him in to just spelling Rashad White because we didn't really have much of that last year. And when we did get a little bit of it with Chase Edmonds late, still Rashad kind of had the whole bell cow thing going. So
Yeah.
you can space it out. And as Les Evans said here, I'm excited to see the improvement in the running game over what
Mhm.
was last year. That's one thing I'm going to kind of touch on about Baker Mayfield too. You never really saw Baker succeed without a running game
Mhm.
until last year. Last year we
Yeah.
didn't have one, but he still
Right.
succeeded. So if
Yeah.
we have a better running game, that's literally been a recipe for Baker's success. This 1 year good, 1 year bad. It's usually his MO. But if you add a running game to his play action fakes, geez,
Mhm.
because anytime he's out of the pocket, he's dangerous. So
Yeah.
I'm excited to see what this running game can be, and not just for getting ground yardage because we don't have any for the past 3, 4 years it seems, but for development of bigger downfield passes, it can be an explosive offense.
Yeah, for sure. I think just looking at it and, I guess my area of concerns for the offense is obviously the interior part of the offensive line. How good can Graham Barton be as a rookie? Can Ben Bredesen be average or at least decent enough where he's not a liability? Can Cody Mock take that next step and kind of leap, kind of similar to how Luke Gedeke did last year, taking that leap from rookie to second year player and really ascending and really taking over that right tackle spot? Can we get something like that from Cody Mock? Can he be that dominant run blocker that we see, that athletic guy that gets out in space, be a weapon on, in the screen game and do something like that. So that is going to be probably my area of concerns. And then the other area of concern is just overall injuries. If, you guys got to stay healthy. Chris Godwin, Mike Evans, most likely they need to be out there on the field. So can those guys stay healthy enough throughout the season? Baker Mayfield, same thing. Like, can you stay healthy and not, force the issue when you're trying to run the football, or, get down and slide and be smart about it. So that's what I'm looking for
An
from
improved running game will not make him make these rash decisions of, I got to do it
right.
by myself. A better play
Yeah.
caller helps you with that as well. Let's not force it all on a Baker. Let's run it, even though we may be down a score. Let's
Yeah.
not force it, right?
Right.
So
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So overall, offensively, I think, as Bucs fans and just looking at it from an unbiased standpoint, I think you have to feel better about what you have. I think they did go out and try to upgrade their weaknesses from last year. I think they have more speed on offense with the additions of Trey Palmer getting faster. You look at Jalen McMillan, bringing him in. Chris Godwin, I think, will have a much better resurgence from the slot position because he's coming off of ACL injury from 2 years ago. I think his body is more in depth and more in tuned as far as what he needs to do, and getting back to his old self, that takes time. So I think he'll have a resurgence there athletically, which will be a huge boost for this offense, and just having another weapon underneath that Baker can feel confident to go to. And then Mike is going to be Mike. He's always going to be that consistent guy that you can count on. But I think the biggest thing is they won't have to force feed him like they did last year, even though that's not a bad thing. I think you'll see more balance overall. And then when Mike needs the football, they'll find ways to get him the ball. I think that is what you're going to see with Liam Cohen and what he brings to this offense and how he play calls it. Just from a veteran standpoint, he knows how to call the game and knows how to attack defenses.
and that is, from our perspective, a massive upgrade as
Yeah.
opposed to how national media thinks it's a downgrade because we've lost Dave Canales, the QB whisperer. But then again, Dave Canales didn't really know how to use certain guys.
Right.
Like the players over plays thing that Liam Cohen says all the time. He didn't really know how to use the player that is Chris Godwin. And now Chris Godwin's going back to the slot. Got a place he's very much more familiar. You see how much more confident he is and how confident in the actual play style and where he's going to be playing, right? A very, very familiar area where he knows he can succeed.
Yeah.
Feed to the players, right? Don't just necessarily say, oh, no, this play you got to play outside. Like Dave Canales told Chris Godwin to do, and his wife got upset. The wives matter.
Yes. Yes,
But
they do.
so that's just Chris Godwin. Then, like we were saying earlier, the running game. If you get a running game going, yes, the interior needs to be it. And I think Graham Barton is a massive upgrade over Robert Hainsey. I think before even going into the offseason, I said that's the massive area we need to improve. I pinpointed that, and they went out and fixed it. Center was the area. It's not just for Baker to have room to throw in the pocket, but it's also to get push forward because we're always getting pushed back. And like you said, if Cody Mock makes that massive jump like Gedeke did, holy hell. Your right side's loaded then. They were already looking good in the playoffs last year. And then you have Wirfs. Anyone next to Wirfs is going to be fine. So, look at the right side right there, holding up fine. Mike Evans going up on a ladder. Why the hell not, right? So, and this right here, look at Mock just annihilate people on that. And then, yes, the Eagles were a mess at the end of the season. So this was a phenomenal play. Great game. Ric Flair was there on the woo. So, yes, we get some of the fireworks and speed that you can see in the Bucs offense. And that's another thing where national media pundits say they didn't really do much. They didn't really add many. What did you really truly need to add to the receiver room? You just needed to stay healthy and find ways to get the ball in the hands of your receivers. That was it.
Yeah.
And what do? We improved our offensive line to get it to these receivers easier. You got a Bucky Irving, another weapon. Sean Tucker, a speed guy that we've never really truly had as an option. And he can catch. What do you know? And if these young guys that we have, like Cade Otton, Trey Palmer, Jalen McMillan, sprinkle into the massive production numbers that Chris Godwin and Mike Evans will get, that's all you really need. offensively, you just need Baker's protection, a running game for him, and then let him distribute. So
Mm.
it's I don't understand why they say just because we didn't make any big additions, and that's why we're not going to be an improved team. We're just going to be the same, and that's not even starting on the defense because that's a whole other level. And I'll let you touch on a little bit more of the offense if you want.
Yeah, just one more point I wanted to make, and it was earlier there in the clip was just the throws to Rashad White, and I think that is going to be part of the offense going forward a little bit more than what we saw last year or even the year before that. I think utilizing Rashad White, utilizing Bucky Irving out of the backfield, getting those screenplays and using the screenplays as an addition or extension of the run game, I think is going to be very huge for this team. We saw a little bit of it in preseason. I mean, the one play where they play actioned the run, used Rashad White, and they shifted back towards the left side of the field to set up blockers for Rashad, and he catches the ball, gets a 17-yard gain. I know that's preseason. I know it's
Against second team.
yeah, against second team Miami Dolphins. Like it wasn't first team. It's not a real game, glorified practice pretty much. But just the concept was really cool to see how they were really setting that play up to get it to where it needed to be. I'm just excited to see those kind of touches manufactured for Rashad White, and I think that's going to be huge for this offense, and also just more better for Baker Mayfield, like you said. I mean, having him being more consistent, where he's got multiple options, he has check downs to go to on every play. There's not going to be a play where he doesn't have an option underneath to get rid of the football to avoid, those sacks that we saw him take last year, especially in the playoffs, right?
Mm-hmm.
He took 4 sacks, I think, against Detroit. Some of that was on him, some of it was on the protection, some of it was on the play design. So if those things can be cleaned up because you're in better situations because of the run game, because of the screen, and just all the compliments that this team has, I'm excited to see what this offense can do. Obviously, they have to go out there and do it,
Yeah.
but I have a feeling that this offense can be in position to carry this team more so than it has in the past, where defensively, it seemed like over the last 2 years, defense had to lead it and really keep this team in games instead of the offense taking over and helping out the defense, so the defense can do less and just make it better overall for this team.
Yeah, I mean, the continuity of Mike Evans and Baker is going to be huge too. I mean,
Right.
you've heard in practice they're on a connection level that's you want to see. It's like one of the greats throwing to Peyton Manning, Reggie Wayne, or Marvin Harrison, kind of stuff like that. That's what you want to see. And Mike still has plenty of tread left. Don't worry about that.
Right.
I just think the massive upgrade of a play caller that knows what the hell they're doing, that's called it multiple years in a row, and is chomping at the bit to prove it to everyone. Not just nervous about it. No, he's like, I want to go out there and I want to be an attacking offense.
Yeah.
He's not a shy, worried guy. He's like, no, I know what I want to do and I'm going to go do it. And he has answers for it. This is awesome. And then you've seen the little sprinkle of it in preseason. Great. But now let's see what happens when the fires really start going. And it's in Baker's hands. He's like, okay, here, this is the offense. If this is what happens, you know what to do moving forward. There's going to be little hiccups maybe here and there with alignments and certain things and just being on the same call as the receiver. Okay. But again, it's Baker's decision to make that throw. And I think the biggest thing he learned last year, just don't turn over the ball. The biggest thing is stay in the game. You know you're going to have a good defense. You've had like almost a top 10 defense for years.
Yeah.
So lean on them. We'll talk on them later. But before we keep going, I just need to emphasize how much better we think Liam Cohen will be. Because last year, if you don't remember, it was paining to watch some of these games where Mike wouldn't even get a touch until the second half, or we couldn't even score a point until the second half. It was, and the sequencing of the runs were bad.
Yeah.
It was a lot of little things where you can pick up on where the motioning, I think, on this offense will be much improved, and that will help everyone, not just your quarterback, but your running game.
Yeah.
And before we kind of move over to defense or anything, who do you think on offense will be, I guess, your breakout player?
Yeah, I think breakout player. I mean, it's easy to say someone from the running back room. You know, Rashad White. Obviously, if the run game is improved, he would be the obvious choice. But I'm just gonna go with Chris Godwin. I really think he's gonna have a strong season. I think the touchdowns will go up. I think Mike will still have his share of touchdowns, but I don't think it'll be like 13 like he had last year. I think it'll be more, 8 to 10. And Chris Godwin, I can see being right there with him as far as 8 to 10 touchdowns from Godwin. So you talk about potentially 16 to 20 touchdowns from those two guys individually. That's what you're looking for a balanced attack. So I feel Godwin is going to have a great year. Obviously, in a contract season, this could very well be his last season as a Buccaneer. But I just feel like his athleticism is coming back. I think he is finally over the injuries and going back into the slot where he can be that Cooper Kupp role. I mean, it's going to be so much fun for him. And not only play Cooper Kupp role, but being able to play multiple positions along the receivers, playing outside and inside. It's just going to be so much fun to see him isolated on matchups that we know he can win week in and week out. So I think he could be the guy that really opens up the game. And then you could see maybe Mike Evans taking over in the second half or vice versa, however they want to play it. That's going to be a lot of fun because you have an offense coordinator that knows how to call those games and attack it the right way. So that's going to be huge. So yeah, Godwin would be my pick.
That's huge. I mean,
Yeah.
What you said of both of them getting 8 to 10
Yeah.
touchdowns, that'd be insane. That's
Yeah.
just him alone. But quietly, Chris Godwin has put together
good seasons.
Yeah, 3 consistent. I think I saw 3,000-yard seasons consistently. Like,
Right.
he's got his own 1,000-yard, I guess, list working towards Mike Evans. But that would be amazing. I'm just gonna go breakout is Graham Barton. I mean, it's so simple. I mean, that's your rookie of the year for the Bucs. If he's doing great, the Bucs are gonna be doing great. I mean, and we're talking every avenue. Pass blocking, run blocking. I mean, he's like the center of your offense.
Mm-hmm.
If he's doing great. I think this offense is gonna be outstanding. So I think it's gonna have to be your breakout guy, and it's not gonna be a thing of numbers. It's gonna be just who's opening holes for everyone else.
Mm-hmm.
Or giving your quarterback time to throw. Like, I think he's going to be huge, and it's not like I can point to, oh, you see that pancakes? He had this many pancakes. It's more how the offense is going to go through that center, and I think that's why they went out and got him. I wish I could say a prettier number, but it is what it is. That's my breakout guy.
Yeah, no, I fully agree there. I think Graham's going to have a solid season, and obviously if he can create, lanes in the run game, create that depth of pocket for Baker Mayfield, it's obviously going to be very beneficial. But with that said, let's move over to the defense. A lot to talk about. I know there's a lot of concerns here on, especially in the secondary, as we'll get to. But I'll bring it back up here on the page, and I'm just going to start right off with the main man that I feel if we want to talk breakout player on defense, I think it's going to be this guy right here, Kalijah Kancey. I think he's the guy to look for, and I'll bring up his stats here. I mean, you guys have seen this video numerous times. I've already showed it like probably 1,000 times, but Kalijah Kancey, I just feel, and me and you have talked about this often. He is Levante David. Like, he just gives you that mentality. Like, he just all business. Doesn't really talk a lot, but when he does talk, it has impact. And I just feel Kalijah is going to have a really good year, especially if he's healthy throughout the whole season. The sky's the limit for him, especially playing alongside Vita Vea, who's going to continue to demand double teams. And if Kalijah starts demanding double teams, then, we're in good shape defensively. So I just think he's going to be fun to watch this year.
And that's the guy no one's really talking about. Everyone mentioned Yaya Diaby through Bucs outlets, right? And national media doesn't really, I think, again, just like Levante David, he's a quiet guy, just puts his nose down, gets the job done, and he humiliates interior linemen.
Yeah.
And he only got better and better with every game in the playoffs. Started off slow because of the injury, but damn, was he effective in what he did. And I think it's just going to be astronomically better this year. Everyone knows Vita Vea. I think this is going to be the coming out party for Elijah Cansey to just terrorize quarterbacks and knowing like, holy shit, it's not just a fat guy that's going to hurt me. It's a guy that can beat my lineman at any moment. Like
Yeah.
it, he's gotten the taste. He's already known the speed. He's fast enough. You've seen it. Now he can just emphasize how good he is over and over again,
Mhm.
and let people talk how he's not that good against the run. Well, if we're up, like we're saying, the offense should be good enough to get leads. Imagine him being able to attack and not
Yeah.
having to worry about getting run on multiple times because we're behind. Imagine an offense that's efficient, and now Todd Bowles can send in the dogs. You have to worry about blitzes, and then all of a sudden you got this guy right down the center of your defense that can fly. Like it
Mhm.
doesn't have to be, oh, we have to wait for a blitzer. No, he's going to win on first move, and it's something we haven't really had much of a pass rush of first move wins. It's
Right.
usually Vita Vea picking you up and flying back there,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, Shaq had his time here, and he was a creative guy of getting back there. But damn, I'm ready for Kalijah Kancey to show out.
Mhm. Yeah, absolutely. So just going through the starting defense here, you got Kalijah Cansey, like we mentioned. So we're hoping that internal growth shows up for him and he takes a big step. You got Vita Vea, who is looking to be in the best shape of his career, and hopefully he can take a step forward, which is crazy to think about. But if he does, obviously that will make the defense better. Logan Hall, he's been a fan favorite here of us. We're just hoping, we're just hoping he takes a step forward, and takes a step forward towards consistency. If he can be consistent, that is going to help the defense overall. If he can just be in the right spot and make the plays that are there to be made, that's what we're looking for from him. Yaya Diaby, again, another guy, a second year player that we're hoping can be, taking that next step or leap into maybe a potentially a 10 sack guy. That would be awesome to see. KJ Britt, I think, was a huge upgrade over Devin White. Just bringing him in and having a guy that's a fundamentally sound football player. I saw a preview by PFF with Trevor Sikkema, and I forget the other. I should know the other guy's name, but he was talking about how KJ Britt coming in week 14 made the Bucs run defense that much better. They were, I think, graded, yeah, they were graded 30th from weeks 1 to 14. And then after that, once KJ Britt came in, they were, I think, top 12. The linebacker group was top 14. So it just shows you how much better they were playing once KJ Britt came in there and really helped the defense overall. Then you also have Levante David, who is just still an all-star level player. Joe Tryon Shoyinka. I know a lot of fans don't like his name, but hey, contract year. Let's see what he can do. Let's see what he can do as a full-time player. He's still very good, I think, against the run. He does a lot of different things as far as pass coverage and just doing everything they ask him to do. And you just hope he can finish a little bit more when it comes to sacks. And then the big question mark among a lot of fans is the secondary. Jamel Dean is now CB1. You have Zion McCollum coming into a starting role. You have Antoine Winfield Jr., who's probably the best safety in the league, which is great. And then you have the return of Jordan Whitehead, which, man, I need his jersey. Like, I'm so excited to see him play in Tampa again. He was a favorite of ours. I know definitely a favorite of yours, Mark, back in the 2018 draft, and so happy that we drafted him, and glad that he's back. And then as your nickel back, you have Tyke Smith, who is going to be fun to watch as well.
Yeah, so this is the area I did want to talk about that I guess heavily
Yeah.
is I mean year after year after year. I mean, again, we got a defensive coordinator as a head coach, a
Mhm.
mastermind head coach, defense coordinator, and he's giving you little hints of saying, I just want to have a little bit of a lead so I
Mhm.
can do all these fun, creative things that I can do. Not always be scratching and clawing, even though we are in every damn game.
Yeah.
Year after year after year, we're in every game. Get
usually because of the defense.
Yes.
Yeah.
Get mad that Todd Bowles doesn't rah-rah like some coaches, or he doesn't have an amazing fun offense because he's a defensive coordinator. He's
Right.
trying to get offensive guys. He got one. He left. Let's see how long Cohen stays, right? But I think he found one that is very creative, very smart mind that will allow him to unleash the dogs that is his defense. And getting Whitehead back is massive.
Yeah.
The way he communicates to everyone on the field, that's going to take a burden off of Winfield so he can do anything he wants. He can just fly around and play, not have to just communicate as well because of that communication. Carlton Davis, I think he was last year was not his best. Does he take it? Does he get back on his par? And with the Lions, I don't know. We'll see. But John McCollum was an up-and-comer, very well suited for a starting position. Does he take it and run with it? We're going to find out. He has all the athletic traits you can want. Jamel Dean, just stay healthy.
Yep.
I mean, that's all. But then with your comment of KJ Britt, what a concept. Just fill your gap. Do your job. That's all you got to do. And you'll be a successful player if you just do your job. I mean, you can have all the athletic traits in the world, like Devin Whitehead. And guess what? If you run the wrong direction too damn fast, you're out of alignment. The shit we said when we drafted him. It's like, I like the traits, but it's between the ears. And again, that's probably another area where Jason Light learned. He's like, okay, this rah-rah guy isn't for the team. We're looking for team players, a Buccaneer guy, a Levante David, a Kalijah Cansey, guys that aren't about me, they're about team. And I think that's why we don't get talked about as much, but we're always consistently right there because we're annoying. We don't give you the flashy highlight plays or highlight quotes. I mean, Baker is probably going to be doing that if we're winning. Yeah. But I mean, overall, like this is just a very consistent lineup that's there that knows what the hell they have to do. KJ Britt is even louder of any of them. They were saying he's the loudest person there, even when David White was here. Like he was just a guy that barks at you and he's puts you in the alignment of where you need to be. Yeah. So I'm excited for all aspects of this defense. Kalijah Cansey getting after it. If Yaya Diaby can make that next step this season, if you have true interior rush and outside, and I'm not even talking about where you have leads and we get Marquise Watts and
Jose Ramirez.
You get Jose Ramirez on the active roster. I'll be surprised. But Chris Braswell and Marquise Watts, if they're out there flying around, good luck. And you have rotations of that. It's gonna be fun to watch. I'll tell you that.
You look at the edge group, obviously Anthony Nelson, Braswell as your backups to Diaby and JTS. It will be interesting to see who dresses out of this group. If Marquise Watts and Jose Ramirez are active on game day, that is something to look for and see if they utilize them on third down situations. Definitely, that is probably the key for this defense is getting off the field on third down. I think that was something that has taken a step back, especially towards the end of last year. There was opportunities to get off the field and they just couldn't do it consistently, especially third and long when you had obvious passing situations. So that has to improve. So you look at that group, you look at the linebackers, pretty, kind of cut, standard there with JJ Russell and Savrasie Dennis. The secondary with Bryce Hall, Josh Hayes, Tyreek Funderburk, really excited about his development and potential. I think he could be something down the line. You look at Christian Izien, Tavier Thomas, and Kayvon Merriweather, pretty much rounding out the safety group. I think Izien and Tyke Smith, or maybe Tavier Thomas, could be like, those are your nickel options, but obviously Tyke Smith's going to get the start for it. So that'll be intriguing. And then Bryce Hall, I think, is a good safety net to have if, Jamel Dean or Zion McCollum just don't play up to standard that they're hoping for. So that'll be interesting. And then up front, Ernest Brown is the newcomer. He takes over for Mike Green. Liked what I saw from him out of preseason. Big guy that can, obviously athletic, can move and make plays. Could we potentially see him start over Logan Hall? Maybe, maybe down the road. I don't know. But we have Greg Gaines. We have William Golston back as well. So that will be intriguing. But overall, defensively, I like the group. I think from inside to like basically inside from all positions, the interior defense line, linebackers, and then safeties, I think you're a lot stronger than you were, the last couple of years, especially with Whitehead coming back because he gives you so much versatility.
Mhm.
Um, where you can put him in the box, you can play him as a linebacker. If they want to get KJ Britt off the field, they can put Whitehead as a linebacker next to Levante. Then they can bring in like Izian or Tavier Thomas or Merriweather in at safety. You have so many, things you can do as far as this defensive backfield or front seven. It makes it a lot of fun from a defensive standpoint.
Now, before I touch on that, like
Yes.
Krillin says, hello, welcome to the chat, Krillin, first of all. And then secondly,
Hit the
too many
like button.
people in here. Let's hit that like button. Let's go chat. Come on
Yeah.
now.
Yeah, if you're on Twitter, we would appreciate it if you could jump over to our YouTube channel. Be sure to hit the like button on the video. Give us a like on Twitter as well. That helps out a lot. I know we're live on there. So, yes, appreciate all the support, all the love, and keep the comments going. Will be to, definitely bring them up here.
Yeah, and then what I wanted to, hit that thumbs up, guys. What you were mentioning about the defense, though, everyone, not just defense, offense, everyone on the roster that's made the 53 has game experience. It's not like last year we were so young
Mm-hmm.
that there was a lot of learning on the go, right?
Yeah.
Like Christian
Yep.
Izian was your rookie starter, undrafted free agent. We literally took a lot of steps back to make multiple steps forward.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, because of the credit card issue of Tom Brady trying to put so much money in the back end, right? And now you have guys like you saw when Servatier was on the field last year, he performed well. JJ Russell, same thing. They had playing time where they had to start and get their feet wet, and they can perform. Preseason, JJ Russell looked like a damn Hall of Famer, Hall of
Mm-hmm.
Fame preseason player, right? So, but you have guys that can perform, and then you have Bryce Hall, I think, is an upgrade at that third cornerback position.
Yeah.
You get Tyke Smith as an upgrade over Christian Izian, but Christian Izian can play a lot of positions too.
Mm-hmm.
And like I just said, he has experience. Tavier Thomas, another experienced player,
Right.
that is your third safety / corner
Yeah.
/ can play a lot of different positions.
Yes.
It's just they're so multiple in ways that can be used, and then they have their stars in Vita Vea, Levante, and Antoine Winfield Jr.
Mm-hmm.
You have just role players that can just do their job. It's as simple as it's got to be, especially in defense. You got to do your job. You got to know your assignment. Just be in that zone, and opportunities will arise. A hand will get in the way, tip ball, interception. But if you're in the middle of the fucking field doing circles, that shows how happy we're with Devin White's performances every year after year. But it's a new leaf, guys. Now I can calm down. Down.
Yeah, I mean, last thing on the defense, I will say, and I think both of us agree on this. You mentioned Vita Vea, you mentioned Levante and Antoine. Obviously, those are your current stars on this defense. You'll need them to play like stars throughout the season, and hopefully they do. But I think if this defense can get a Kalijah Cansey, like we mentioned in the beginning, a Yaya Diaby to take that internal growth step or that leap in year 2 and become maybe star players this season, that makes your defense go from potential, playoff defense to, maybe divisional round. But if that happens, you could go to maybe Super Bowl caliber contender. Like that's what this team is looking for. I know that's a lot to say right there, but if that happens, this team could be right there in the thick of things. And obviously, health and all that plays a part. You have to be lucky. You have to stay healthy. But I think if you get those type of ascensions, and let's say Zion McCollum, let's say McCollum becomes a very solid starter that can make plays on the football, catch the ball. Obviously our corners need to catch the ball. If you get any type of that type of growth, and I think that's what Jason Light is counting on for this year, because really, when you look at it, if none of that happens, I think next season, 25 season, that's where this team can really compete for a championship. I think that's the way this team is going, just with all the the pieces that they're putting together, I think you're looking at 25 being the year that this team really competes for a Super Bowl championship.
I mean, I agree with that.
Yeah.
I also don't. I once you get in the playoffs, anything can happen.
Yes, for sure. And we saw that last year. We
Yeah.
did.
I mean, everyone right now, I think, is saying how the Lions are going to win the Super Bowl. I think that's like where they're saying how, like your timetable for the Bucs. Oh, next year is probably going to be it. Hell, the Lions could have won the Super Bowl last year.
Yeah.
I mean, they should have beat the 49ers. They had the game, and then they kept doing their aggressive stuff and start choking in the end.
Mm-hmm.
If they played the Chiefs, it would have been a different story. I don't know.
Right.
And this year, they didn't make that many changes. Yeah, they got a little bit better in corner. That's probably the area of biggest weakness they had. Our corners, they took one of ours, right? And they drafted two. So they're going to be relying on a guy that we saw didn't have a great year, but yes, he's a better press corner.
Mm-hmm.
And then they're relying on two rookies. I don't necessarily know if you want to do that.
Yeah.
But it is what it is. I mean, it's what their biggest weakness was, and they went in and tried to find a way to fix it. Mm-hmm. Let's see what happens. But they know what they needed to fix, and they think they did. This Bucs team, there's not many holes.
Right.
And if you have the opportunity and you can step on the gas and really turn it on a team, I mean, offensively, where the hell's the hole besides an offensive line questionable because he's a rookie in the middle?
Mm.
And you have an all-world left tackle with a guy that has starting experience next to him. I think we're okay there.
Yeah.
I think it's just going to be just play calling, everything getting in unison. Defensively, we know they're a consistently good team, a lot of hard workers, a lot of damn stars on it too.
Mm.
And you got guys that can make the jumps like Canty and Diaby, like you just mentioned. So
right.
There's a lot of potential where it can be. It doesn't have to be next year. It can be this year.
Mm.
But like you said, a lot of things got to fall into place, health, and guys making the next step.
Yeah. I think that's what we're, you're looking for. I think, the coaching improvements obviously going to help this team. Can we get consistency from Baker Mayfield? Can we get consistent play from certain guys on defense like we talked about? That's going to be huge. But let's go to special teams. Obviously, we have Jake Camarda back. He was kind of on the bubble going into the season. Coach Bowles was not pleased with how he was punting. I didn't look too much into that. I thought he was doing an okay job, but so he's got competition. They brought in a punter on the practice squad, so it'll be interesting to keep an eye out for that and see how he does this weekend. Chase McLaughlin was also a little question mark because he missed the first two kicks and then came back strong in the last game where he nailed the kick that he had. So that was good to see. And as far as the return game, we have Bucky Irving, the rookie, being your kickoff returner alongside Sean Tucker, which I like a lot. I think that's going to be fun to see how those guys interact and how they, just utilize the new return game that is going to be presented. Trey Palmer as a punt returner, I'm a little surprised there. I thought it would have gone to Cameron Johnson, but we'll see what Trey Palmer can do as a punt returner. Obviously, the speed is very evident, and if he can make a guy miss, there's potential there to set up the offense very nicely. So, overall thoughts on the special teams?
Special teams, yeah, they didn't show much.
Yeah,
they didn't show much good.
Right.
But you have a guy that, when the season was on all last year, Jake Camarda was lights out.
Yeah,
and same thing with Chase McLaughlin. But you got to have some concern because, yes, it's preseason, but still, it's almost your tune-ups. Show me that you can still do it. Right? I mean, I know proof's in the pudding, but I mean, you almost don't want it to be something that carries over to the season because we thought we had something consistent and amazing in Camarda and McLaughlin last year. They were just phenomenal. But I mean, every year is different. If you have the same effort and consistency with your craft, you're going to be a good player. I mean, I don't think Camarda and McLaughlin are just taking it lazily. I don't think so. I mean, career.
Right.
You never know, right? And that's as a team, as a GM, and as a coach, you're like, let me just make sure. And I understand that, but I don't think it's going to be that big of a concern.
Right. And also new long snapper Evan Deckers. I remember you sending me a text about Zach Triner getting cut.
Yeah.
Yeah, Deckers. I mean, he earned it. He was obviously someone they wanted to go with. That just gives them, I guess, a little bit more in that realm. So that's cool to see. But I mean, there you have it. That was a long-winded breakdown of the Buccaneers roster. We went in depth on it and kind of gave you an idea of what our expectations are. And I'll just say it right now, I expect this team to be somewhere between 10 and 12 wins. I think 12 wins is their ceiling. I think 10 is probably their floor as far as where I see them heading to. But yeah, I expect at least 10-7 this season. I think that's where they can go. And I think that'll be good enough to win the division over the Atlanta Falcons, who are probably going to be our biggest competition. I think the Saints and Panthers have taken a step back. I think the Panthers and Saints are probably battling for the last place in the division, in my opinion. And I think the Falcons, obviously, with the coaching upgrades that they made, I really respect Raheem Morris. I respect who they brought in as far as offense coordinator and such. Obviously, Kirk Cousins is a good quarterback. But things take time. Things take time for things to come together. Everything is new. And yeah, I know they brought in some veterans with Matthew Judon and Justin Simmons, but let's see how it plays out. I expect the Bucs to really still be the top dog in this division moving forward.
Yeah. So that's the biggest thing with the Falcons, though. Yeah, they're great on paper, right? Like people are
Yeah,
talking about in the chat. Kirk Cousins, very consistent type of player, chokes a lot in the big games.
yeah,
He's coming off an Achilles.
yeah.
Let's not all worry about that. Um, Kyle Pitts had probably one of the better rookie seasons, and then he's been sputtering
Mhm.
off. Is it play call? Is it what the hell is it? He was a top 5 tight end. How the hell can you not use him?
Right.
Yes, you're hoping Zach Robinson can use him. Like same thing with Zach Robinson. Like how much play call experience does he have? Right.
Mhm.
So in the Rams offense, Sean McVay is your play caller.
Right.
Yeah, he sets everything up, helps McVay out, but McVay is your play caller. Then you take over for the Falcons. Yes, Raheem is a phenomenal defensive coordinator. I know he's going to manufacture crap up that's going to piss us off with and he has some veterans in there. They have 2 great safeties. They get
Mhm.
Matt Judon. Awesome. Yeah, but other than that, I'm not really scared of much else. We can find ways to pick holes and do stuff. But I mean, it's just a big different situation than how people were saying how it's Cousins going to the Falcons is like Brady coming to the Bucs. Like
Mhm.
the only thing that was changed was Brady coming in. Everything else was the exact same damn thing.
Yeah.
You had 2,000-yard receivers, consistent, great players.
Mhm.
We brought in Gronk, like
Yeah.
a beast, like AB. There was a lot here. I
Mhm.
don't think the Falcons are as loaded as we were back then. And then to say their running game is going to get them there too. Yes, Bijan Robinson, amazing player.
Mhm.
We're pretty good against the run.
Yeah.
So we're going to make them one dimensional. Do I think Drake London is as good as Mike Evans is? I don't think so.
Mhm.
And I think they're trying to crown him as Justin Jefferson. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
But it is what it is. Hey, I think they're going to be a good team, no doubt.
Yeah, I think they'll be right there. Again, their schedule is going to give them benefits because it is a lower play schedule. It's an easier schedule on paper. But again, it's a week to week league. The Buccaneers also, facing a tough schedule too. So, we'll just have to see how it goes. But I think overall, the Buccaneers will be right there and should be in the playoffs, whether that's as division winner or a wild card. Um, I expect this team to take that next step forward and get to 10, maybe as high as 12 wins, but we'll see. We'll find out this weekend. And with that, I think we're going to get into just a little preview of the matchup against the Washington Commanders. You look at their offense here, obviously led by rookie quarterback Jaden Daniels, Brian Robinson Jr. in the backfield. Austin Eckler is a new addition. Their receivers are Luke McCaffrey. I'm not going to say his name. I guess Zach Curious. I don't know how to say that, but Terry McLaurin. The main matchup to watch for though is right here: this rookie left tackle, Brandon Coleman, is starting for them. That is something the Bucs got to take advantage of. And I wouldn't be surprised if Kalijah Cansey gets moved outside there to go up against him just to get wins, off that edge. Nick Alligatri, Tyler Badaz. I'm not pronouncing these names right, but Sam Cosme, a good solid player. But the rest of the offensive line, I think, is suspect. And that is something that the Bucs defense has to win up front. I think that'll be a key to look for early. Zach Ertz is still respectable tight end. So, I mean, what's your thoughts on this Commanders offense? And obviously, they are, I think, led by Cliff Kingsbury as the offense coordinator. So, it'll be interesting to see how he runs things for them.
I mean, whenever you have a guy like Jaden Daniels that can move around the pocket, extend plays, it's always dangerous, right? But if you can get interior pressure and force him to run into your edge rushers, play a lot of containment, make him win from the pocket, and if he can't step up, it's going to be a rough day, especially for a young rookie quarterback, first career start.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone's like, he has pinpoint accuracy. Like, yeah, but you're going to have to step up and make throws. And let's see if you put it all on him and make it one dimensional. Hey, but either way, like anytime you got a guy that can extend plays, it's not looking good for your defenders to continuously cover, especially if Todd Bowles is sending blitzes in and they don't get home and he does get away. Yeah, scary things can happen. But I'm like you just mentioned of their offensive line, I think we're going to have some pressure, especially in the outside. Yeah, let's see how healthy he is, especially if he gets to go against a rookie left tackle. But yeah, anytime we face a rookie, I like our chances.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. I'm right there with you. I think, obviously their receivers with McLaurin is going to be an interesting matchup. We have to make sure we don't get. I think the biggest thing for this matchup is just not getting beat downfield. Not getting beat by the deep ball. Obviously, that's a strength for Jaden Daniels and his accuracy down the field. I think that is something that we have to be prepared for and ready for. I know there's a lot of comments as far as the Logan Hall. Logan Hall is making the rounds here, but yeah.
Oh, that one was good. This one was good.
Yeah. The Florida Gators are pretty bad this year, unfortunately. As I am a Gator fan, they are pretty pathetic. I was at that game against Miami. It was a sad watch, but yeah, that's another whole different topic. But back to the Commanders, I think, offensively, I think you got to stop the run. You can't let Brian Robinson get out in space. You can't let Jaden Daniels get out in space and beat you with his legs. So that's going to be important. So really the key for me is just keeping him inside the pocket and make him progress, make him go through his progressions. I think that's going to be important. Take away that first read. That's what you have to do. It's the same thing that we had to do against Marcus Mariota all that time ago, and we didn't do it. Lovey Smith.
Take away Scary Terry and let anyone else beat you. Stop the run, take away Scary Terry. Let's see what happens.
Yep, I'm right there with you. And then defensively, I think we can all agree the biggest test and great test for our interior offensive line is going to be against Daron Payne and Jonathan Allen. That's going to be the matchup there. Can we sustain enough blocks to give either Baker time or give our run game options to get through? That will be interesting. Interesting to see that they are playing a 4-3 defense, but they have Dante Fowler playing outside linebacker now, which is intriguing. I wonder if I don't know if they're going to be like still a 3-4 or how that's going to work, but just interesting that he's listed there. Bobby Wagner and Frankie Lavu, like he's good. Yeah. So.
Right. I mean, you got a good defense coordinator as your head coach.
Right.
You got guys that are very experienced and can get after the quarterback. That's the area. I mean, look at even their safeties too.
Yep.
Jeremy. Yeah.
Yeah. Safeties are good. I think their corners are suspect. I think they can definitely be attacked. You got a rookie nickel, but so do the Bucs as well. I think, Benjamin St. Juste is an okay player. Manuel Forbes. Again, these guys are, okay, but I think you like our options if we can get time for Baker to take advantage of their secondary. It's a secondary that struggled mightily last year, so that will be something to watch for.
Overall, I think we both can agree
Yeah.
this is a game that it's at home. The heat of the Florida weather should prevail, if
Mm.
anything, and then let our defense kind of absorb Jaden Daniels, make it a rough time for him. Do not, like I said, make it one dimensional, make it harder on him,
Right.
and then just keeping away at the running game, getting it laterally so that you can find ways to attack downfield. Like you just said, those corners are suspect. If you're going against Chris Godwin, Mike Evans, and you're making them think it's a run and
Mm.
they take a step forward, it's kind of over and done with. But I think it's overall a game we should win. By how much, I don't know, but we'll see.
Yeah. Yeah, it should be a fun game, guys, this weekend. I appreciate all the people that came in here. Be sure to hit that like button for us, help support the channel. Subscribe if you're new to us. We usually do a live stream every week, especially during the season. We'll have game film breakdown as well, going over each game as they go by. And much more content to come as well. So really looking forward to the Buccaneers 2024 season. Hope you guys enjoyed this. And with that said, until the next one.